Right, so hi guys, how is everyone? Yes, I'm Thomas, the native speaker from Here project in Katowice, and because the Easter season is upon us, so as you can see, I have my Easter bunny ears. I'm going to tell you guys about Easter in Australia. Right, so we need to remember that because Australia was founded by the English, a lot of the things that we do for Easter are are more or less the same as what happens in England. Right, so let's begin. Where do Easter celebrations start? Easter celebrations start actually 47 days before the start of Easter. And this starts with a thing called Pancake Tuesday. I loved Pancake Tuesday at school. I have so many good memories about Pancake Tuesday at school. So basically, our teacher, she bought pancake mix, and then we all made pancakes on like this electronic stove, and we always ate our pancakes with lemon and sugar, and oh my god, it was delicious, and I always look forward to Pancake Tuesday every year at primary school. One of my happiest memories of going to primary school. So another thing that we used to do in primary school is that we had Easter egg races. So what our teacher would do is they would bring hard-boiled eggs into the classroom, and they would have like a bowl with different coloured dyes in them, and we'd all like dip the egg into the dye, and then we'd paint bunnies or other things on it to make it look Easter-ish. And then with a friend we would have Easter egg races, where we put these eggs on a spoon, and we'd run from one end of the yard to the other and give the friend the egg so that it doesn't drop, and it's kind of like passing on the baton. And the last person to have a whole egg on their spoon is obviously the person that wins. So that's what we did. Now another thing that we do in Australia is that, okay, so these ears, okay, so you would say the Easter bunny ears. In Australia, actually, we don't really like using the word the Easter bunny. Instead, we say the Easterbilby. So a bilby is a native Australian marsupial which, unfortunately, because of the introduced European rabbits, their population has been dwindling. So getting smaller, and the bilby is in Australia unfortunately an endangered species. And there is a chocolate company in Australia which doesn't make Easter bunnies, Easter bunnies, they actually make chocolate Easterbilbies. So yeah, in Australia, be careful using the term Easter bunny because it's a little bit politically incorrect. However, we prefer the Easterbilby, and from each Easterbilby sold in Australia, 50% of the proceeds go towards the conservation of the bilby population in Australia. So yeah, we also celebrate our native wildlife in Australia. Right, so the next thing that we have in Australia is the day after Pancake Tuesday, we have Ash Wednesday. So this is where in the church, they burn palms. And in Australia, we don't really have native palms. The only thing that is native to Australia which resembles a palm is called a cycad palm. So look it up. The funny thing is about cycads is that they are poisonous. So once again, guys, everything in Australia wants to kill you. Right, and then the priest on Ash Wednesday mixes the ashes with water and puts a cross on your forehead, right? And as kids back home in Australia, we were always like, "Oh, my cross is better than yours, ha ha ha, sucked in." That's what we did. Right, so now we've had, so I've talked about Pancake Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, then we have Maundy Thursday, right, so the priest in the church reenacts what Jesus did with his 12 apostles. So the priest chooses 12 people from the congregation and washes their feet, just like Jesus did. Right, so now is the start of Lent. Oh, and by the way, I should probably mention that the Pancake Tuesday, this is our carnival that happens here in Poland. So you're meant to eat something sweet and or do something enjoyable, and then the 40-day period after that you're meant to deprive yourself of something. So you're meant to give something up. What have you given up this year for Lent? So then we deprive ourselves of something. Oh, and during Lent, churches, they are decorated less, and they have a lot of purple, let's call them curtains. So purple curtains inside the church, and a lot of the decorations are hidden. So this represents our period of being sorrowful, of being sad and depriving ourselves of something, right? And the priests, they wear purple robes. So once again, it all fits in with Lent, right? So after the period of Lent, we have Good Friday. Right now, yes, so we kind of do Good Friday a little bit differently in Australia. Some people, they do the whole, we are very sad because today's the day that Jesus suffered. However, some people don't, and we have an annual burnout competition called Good Friday Burnouts. So yes, wreck your car on Good Friday. Right then, I should also mention that in Australia, Easter works a little bit differently than in Europe, because Easter is a European tradition which has been brought over to Australia. And it works like this in Europe. So Easter is celebrated at the start of spring. So after the winter, what's it called? The shortest day of the year. Winter, not equinox, but solstice. So after the winter solstice, the end of winter and the start of spring. So here we have the spring equinox. Now, Easter is always celebrated on the first full moon after the spring equinox. So, and this represents the end of winter, the end of winter, the end of the harshest part of the year, and where we have new life coming into life, essentially. And this is represented through Jesus becoming resurrected from the dead. That there is that element. However, this doesn't work the same way like it does in Australia, because our seasons are the opposite. So when it's spring here, it is autumn there. So yes, in Europe, Easter is celebrated during the spring equinox, and in Australia, Easter is celebrated during the autumn equinox. Now, in Australia, on Easter Sunday, our family, we always went to morning mass or the dawn mass, and the mass ended just as the sun was coming up. And after the mass, we all went outside and watched the sun come up. That was very good. Now, in Australia, which I haven't seen here in Poland, is we have a thing called hot cross buns. So they are just soft buns with a white cross on them, and this cross represents, Jesus being nailed to the cross during his crucifixion. So I remember during the morning mass or the dawn mass, we always had toasted hot cross buns, and if you haven't tried a hot cross bun, trust me, they are delicious. Okay, and then after dawn mass, we would go home. We would have our family over, and my mum would always make shepherd's pie for Easter, because at the end of the day, the Lord is our shepherd. Right. So what have I talked about? Yes. Basically, how Easter, as a European tradition, coming over to Australia, and what it looks like to be an Australian tradition. Okay, so I think that's all from me today. Happy Easter, everyone. Stay safe. Right, so what else do we do in Easter? Okay. Okay, start again.